Hey folks, Amanda here. Just a quick heads up that from time to time, the Survivor's Guide to Thriving podcast does include some adult language. So if you've got kids with you, you may just want to hold on to this episode to listen to a little later. Enjoy! Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Survivor's Guide to Thriving podcast. I'm Amanda Solman, and along with Mark Jewell, your host for this show and the creator of the Surviving to Thriving movement. Each week, we'll dive into the mindsets that keep us in survival mode and learn how to get on the path to a truly thriving life. If you're looking for a wake-up call and want some valuable tools to get there, you have come to the right place. After all, survival is dead. It's your time to thrive today. Now, let's head over to the show.
Alrighty, man, we should be going live. So we are here and ready to rock.
I love it.
I've got the one, the only Mr. Joshua B. Lee on the... Alrighty, man, we should be going live.
You have your Facebook on.
The Survivor's Guide to Thriving podcast / live feed here this afternoon. So, Josh, we got to know each other a little bit several years ago at the Next Level Experience up in...
New York, right?
I think we were in Manhattan, right? Up in New York. When all this stuff was getting kicked off. And so over the years, we've kind of followed each other, been connected over social media and Facebook and all that good stuff. And so here's the deal. Here we are doing the live interview to talk about your book and all the cool stuff that you're doing here today, promote what you're talking about, the whole idea that balance is bullshit, which I'm super excited to get into. So let's just go right into it, man. So why don't you give us a little bit of background on you and who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff, and we'll start talking about the book.
Yeah, man, no worries. I mean, I can definitely attribute some amazing relationships that I got from going. I mean, that's why I love events like Raoul's, the Next Level Experience. I mean, we had a lot of fun there. You and I connected, and we've been connected ever since, and have a lot of other mutual friends specifically from that event. So
absolutely.
A little bit of background on me, man. I started back early 2000-ish, back in the online advertising space. I think I was probably always an entrepreneur. My mom always said, she's like, yeah, you were selling candy. I always thought my first was like selling candy out of my lockers. Like in middle school, she's like, oh no, you'd want to go to summer school. And I'm like, really? I don't remember wanting to go to summer school. She's like, yeah, you go there and like play cards and earn money doing that. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's a little thing of that entrepreneurial experience that you just kind of black out a little bit.
Right.
But I got in the online advertising game. I mean, I really lucked out. I hit it real quick, real fast, and we had agreements with companies like MySpace.
Okay.
Arbitrage, buying traffic and selling it to Overture, which is now Yahoo, which is now whoever bought them recently. I think it's Verizon.
Yeah, something like that.
And I mean, this is why a lot of this book is so important to be put out now, because based on my experience, I was able to I achieved success really young.
Sure.
Made a good amount of money, and where everyone saw me as, and that's where I'm saying success as in other people's eyes.
Right. Sure.
General population's eyes, because they saw I had a lot of money. I traveled, I played around a lot, and I was making trips all the time to Vegas, playing around, spending money.
Yep.
And I was, out of shape. My relation, and I had never been out of shape. I played sports throughout, my entire life. I was out of shape. I had horrible relationships. I had no vision about where I was going. I only knew where I was, and everything was business. But I had those careers. I had that going, and then I had my ups and downs. And after a while, I realized that I had to take a second look into my own self.
Sure.
And that's where my strategy of where I work with a lot of people now in my coaching, and why the book came out, which is all about the integrated life formula. Because I didn't have an integrated life. I tried to do the whole balance. And when you're talking about a whole bunch of money and business, as we all do.
Absolutely. Well, that's what everybody talks about. That's what everybody talks about. So you're talking about from the outside looking in. I mean, everything looks good, right? I mean, like you've got the life, right? Because you're going places, you're doing things. It looks all fun, and I
I
think
had life. It looked like I had a relationship. And I'm now divorced but everyone, when it happened, everyone was like, really? Except for like my close friends were like, wow, I didn't even see that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, why would they?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if they're not peering in from, somewhere nearsighted to you, I mean, it's tough to see. It's tough to really see that things maybe aren't exactly all of what they seem. And let's face it, I think, from an entrepreneurial perspective, life can be a little bit tricky when it comes to balancing all of
right. And it's not even entrepreneurial side though, right? I mean, it rolls in everything. People are like, oh, work-life balance. So, and where you talk about, you've got the entrepreneurial experience.
Absolutely.
This stuff transcends entrepreneur. It's anyone.
Right. Exactly.
In today's world, so much marketing money was spent behind this whole work-life balance concept.
Absolutely. Tons of programs, and guys like me that were out there doing these corporate trainings, we're going out to train people on how to have better work-life balance, right? I mean, that's right. What we paid to do was to talk about that and help people get sold on that. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves on this, I want to just talk.
Yeah, pull me back.
This is specifically why I wanted to bring you on, because you've got this book out now called "Balance is Bullshit," which I think I think the concept is amazing. I think it's exactly. There it is. I think that's exactly what people need to be reading from a conceptual standpoint, but here's why. So we've been out here now, we've been 4 years in business doing corporate programs. I was in the corporate training game before that, selling for another company. And one of the biggest things, we just had a sales conversation this morning with a company where what are like the top 3 things that you want your people to work on? What are the top 3 things keeping your salespeople from going over the top? Nothing to do with product, nothing to do with price, nothing to do with the market, right? It was all about how to prioritize time, how to balance time, how to, right? I mean, everything was that idea, not what you would think, not the marketplace, not having more customers, not better marketing. It was around keeping people more balanced and more focused and more in flow and all that kind of stuff. So, I think even before we met, I was telling you this right before we pushed record. I would go to our corporate programs and say, we talk about this whole concept of work-life balance. I said, and what I do is I'll just take my iPhone. I said, since we started all carrying these things around, I said, your opportunity for work-life balance went out the window.
100%.
Balance is effectively bullshit. To me, it's what I call the work-life blend. Pick your word. We talk about this whole idea of integrated lifestyle. And so why don't you dig into that a little bit for us and help us understand, what is integrated lifestyle? Why is bullshit?
Well, before we even get into that, you pulled out your phone, which is, again, I have to stop because this is one of the biggest things that I work with anyone on. And I just want to pose this question. I mean, what do you think when someone wakes up in the morning, and this is where their whole life gets thrown off, what do you think the first thing they do when 99% of the population wakes up?
They pick up their phone.
Pick up their phone. First thing they're doing.
Absolutely.
And if I was going to ask, why are you successful, Mark? Is there anything? I say the reason why I'm successful, nothing else other than me. I make me successful.
Right.
But by picking up your phone, looking at Facebook, looking at email, the world didn't end while you were sleeping. Exactly. You just set precedents that the rest of the world is more important than you and your success.
Absolutely.
And I say that's bullshit. Because I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and I don't touch my phone. I don't look at email. I mean, if someone really needs to get a hold of me, they'll call me. If it's that important, life-threatening or business-threatening.
Right.
And I dedicate those mornings to myself.
Absolutely. I love it.
And to my family.
Yeah.
So, I just had to say that because you pulled out the phone. I'm like, it was in my head. I'm like, I don't say this now.
Yeah. Well, so that's a good idea. I might take that as feedback and run a little 30-day experiment on myself and say, okay, I'm not touching my phone for the first 30 minutes of the day other than in my iTunes so that I can get my morning ritual going. But one thing that this literally happened in a conversation yesterday with some family. I told them that I deleted all of the news apps off my phone. So I took out Fox News, CNN, CNBC, whatever.
Especially today's world, God.
Because all the push notifications are coming through all day long, like Trump this, Trump that, et cetera, whatever, Russia this, Russia that, the wall, right, all the stuff, so another terrorist, shooting something else going on. And so, and it's like, okay, so this is now penetrating my being. all day long, right? Because it's just, even if I don't go to read the article, it's still coming across the face of my iPhone all the time. And so, and here I am like trying to do transformational coaching while at the same time I'm listening to the same old version of everything else that's going on in the world. How can I lead people effectively that way? So I did this. And the question that came back to me is, after I said I deleted all my news apps, I'm like, why? Like, how can you get by without the news? I'm like, I don't know. It's been like at least a month since I deleted all the apps off my phone. And I'm like, no, it's been fine. My business is performing better. I'm happier. I'm more present to everybody around me as a result of not being engaged in the, in the news all the time. We don't have a cable subscription, so I don't have CNN or Fox News, or MSNBC, or any of these things at home. So I literally have to take time to go through Apple TV or go through my phone, log in with somebody else's DirecTV account to get access. So, full disclosure, my mom has DirecTV, and so I'm a 35-year-old man. I will use her login if there's like something I want to watch, but I need the login.
I love it, man. I love it. But I mean, that's the thing, right, Mark? I mean, all those issues, everything that's going on around us, yes, they do affect the world, but they don't affect my immediate world right now.
Right.
And I mean, I know that I need to affect that world around me right now. So why am I going to allow all these other things, the negative aspects of what's going on around the world, that will affect me in the broad scale and other people, but not in my immediate circle, my immediate environment, because I want to be that effective. I want to be able to do that. So I've got to be positive, and I've got to be able to put myself forward.
Yeah.
And as you said, I mean, what's my idea of integration, living an integrated life, right?
Right. Yeah. So let's go back to the question that started 5 minminutes ago. Just for the,
I was like, if I don't go back
to refocus. Okay.
You and I will start going and we'll be riffing for like an hour and then go, oh yeah, we were supposed to talk about that.
I might have to call Emily and say, clear the calendar, because this is going on right now. So integrated lifestyle. All right. So dig into that for us. What is this?
So, I mean, I look at it this way. I've been in business. I've worked for people before in my past. It's been a long time, but I've done that. And I believe before business, before anything, you got to have I've got 4 aspects of my life that are important to me. And to get to the 4th, I've got to have the first 3. I look at health, because to be able to be my best, to be able to keep on going throughout the world, if I don't have my health, I don't have anything. Because again, you've got to be healthy. Yeah. I look at relationships, because professionally and personally, those people are there to support me, to be able to be there when I'm down, to be able to celebrate my wins. I've got to be able to have those, professionally and personally every single day. Because, I mean, that's really what's driven me. I mean, you and I, the relationship that we have and the relationships that we have with others have helped me grow as a person and cause the effect that I want to in this world. Right?
Okay. Absolutely.
And then last, vision. You've got to have a vision. Now, you can say spirituality. I mean, I look at a lot of things. I mean, I meditate every day. But, I mean, having a vision about where you're going, not just where you're at, is extremely important.
Right.
Those 3 things, that's when I believe business comes into effect. Now, this can be your work or your company. It doesn't really matter, because, again, all these concepts, I believe, as just people, we have to have.
You bet.
So, I mean, that's my integrated life. Being able to go through and be able to look at those 4 things in my life. And if I can be able to go through and be like, okay, here's an issue I'm going through right now. Let me look how, prospectively, I'm going to take these 4 pieces of my life and see how it affects each one of those equally, and then be able to find the best path forward that gives me a good value in all of them.
Got it.
So that's why I kind of look at it. I mean, it's not trying to be able to be a balance. I look at it as going, what needs to happen right now to be able to cause the most effect? And we'll adjust. It's not going to, I'm not going to be like, oh man, I worked 10 hours today and I only had 2 hours to myself. If I'm happy and I'm confident with what I did, I'm not going to hate on myself and go, oh man, if I could have.
Right. So do you think, I mean, do we get kind of caught up in this idea that it has to look a certain way? So I even take so I just wrote down on my little window over here with my dry erase marker, so body, relationships, vision, and work, occupation. I call it occupation.
Occupation, right, yeah.
Whatever. My wife is an occupational therapist, so I know by definition occupation.
It plays in your mind already, yeah.
Exactly, like doing something, whatever you do that's meaningful to you, an activity. meaningful to you,
I
right?
might have to use that.
Yeah, absolutely. You tell her, give it, make sure you cite the Dr. Vanessa Jewell.
I love it. 100%.
She'll appreciate that. But so do you think though, even though like, I mean, guys like us that kind of practice this whole idea of having these 4 areas in my business, we have the Thrive with 5. We have something similar to this, and we throw in contribution. So your ability to contribute outward.
Right.
But do you find that people kind of get stuck in this idea that it has to look a certain way? So Josh is really successful, and he spends 5 hours a day freaking working out. So like, does that mean, do I also have to work? Am I not going to be successful if I don't spend as much time working out as you? I mean, do you find people kind of get caught up in this concept?
They do. They get caught up in their mind. I mean, again, the reason why most people slow themselves down is because they slow themselves down. They make excuses that the other things in the world are the reason why they're having less success than the next person. So they have to be able to mimic. Now you can mimic someone, but once you've followed them, then you need to make it your own.
Yeah.
I always believe other people have a great path. I mean, that's why I love to be able to do the coaching that I do, be able to put my programs together. And I've changed from what I did before. And I mean, I'm still involved in those companies, but I have other people that run them because I want to be able to share what I learned from my mistakes or my successes with others, and then teach them how to be able to adjust them. It's that one degree shift that makes it their own. Because if I do Thrive Today every single day, it's always going to be great, but it's always going to be Mark Jules.
Yep. It's
not going to be Joshua Lees.
Yeah.
So that's where people have to make, or Tony Robbins, or Raul. I mean, Marcy Locke, you were just out with Marcy. I mean, you can own those, you can mimic them, but then you have to start adjusting.
Exactly. I like that.
That's where people are like, oh, I have to mimic exactly who they are. Right. You're not them. And if you always continue to just do someone else's, program every day, they always say maybe you're going to get 50% of the results because they're not you.
Yeah. Well, then it's not fully integrated then, is it?
No. So, I mean, that's that biggest thing, man. I mean, it's going through. I mean, I go through, like in my book, it's like, look, here's some experiences of mine. Here's some ways to be able to look at it. But in the long run, no matter what it is, mindset is the biggest thing. I mean, I go through, I think the first 3 or 4 chapters are all about mindset. Because if you don't have the mindset, no matter what techniques you or I or anyone give someone, they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to start changing. People go, I have to be someone different at work than I have to be at home. I'm 2 different people. I wear 2 different masks. No, be you. Be authentic all the time.
Yeah. Perfect. So here, I want to dig into that mindset thing as kind of the precursor, and then what I'd love to do, Josh, is kind of go through each of these 4 areas of depth, of maybe some like practical, like, okay, here's some things you can start to adapt into or integrate into your own life. But
100%.
From your perception, I'm 100% on board with you. I think anybody who's been through my programs, most of the people that listen to our podcast get this. They're looking for that kind of information.
Right.
Mindset piece. What does that get to look like in order to have more of this integrated lifestyle so that I can understand what it means when balance is truly?
So the biggest thing I look at is, going through and being able to adjust your mindset to know that you're enough. Trying to be someone else, to be you, be always you 100% of the time. Okay. And the biggest thing that I see with most people, and I'm going to share something with you that's in the book, and I only share with my clients, and now I've actually shared with the world with the book, but it changes everything. Why I think most people's mindset is they go to bed thinking about what they didn't do that day and what they didn't accomplish. Mark, if you could go to bed, and if anyone listening right now can go to bed feeling accomplished every single day, day in and day out, how would that affect your life?
You would end with momentum and begin with it again. I mean, that's where I would be.
So that changes your mindset immediately. And that's like one of the easiest things that I teach people how to do. And man, I know people that are listening on the podcast can see it, but if you had a piece of paper and you write down what you want to accomplish that day on the piece of paper, what's the value of that piece of paper?
Nothing until you actually get something done.
But it's still a piece of paper.
Right.
That's why so many people write it down and go through, and then they're like, at the end of the day, like, well, I'll get to that tomorrow.
Right. You draw the little.
Then they go to bed going, I didn't accomplish everything.
Yeah.
So it's that give and pull. I look at it going, I know I want to go to bed every day feeling accomplished. Because like you said, if I can go to bed feeling great about myself, I'm going to wake up with the power, with the energy that I need and the mindset that I need to accomplish my goals the next following day.
Yeah.
So I go through, and we all have phones. Like I said, my first thing, so I told you I wake up at 5:30 every morning. I go through, I wake up, I do my meditation, I work out, I spend time with my kids, I read. I actually even listen to audiobooks while I'm working out because I like to be able to kind of pair multiple facets together because I feel I take that information in a little bit better. So as soon as I pick up my phone at 9, I take it out, and I think of 5 things that I know without a shadow of a doubt I can accomplish that day. I don't care if it's taking a walk, giving my son a hug, eating breakfast. You start out real simple. And you take out your phone, and I go, Joshua, today you are going to accomplish boom, 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 boom. And at the end of the video, I go, Josh, congratulations on accomplishing all your goals today.
Got it.
So what I've done is now visually,
Yep.
I can hear myself. I mean, I'm using multiple senses.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And if I look myself in the mirror, I will always want, that's more important than a piece of paper, and I always want to do for myself. And before I go to bed every single night, I watch that video 5 minutes before I go to bed. And I'm telling myself, congratulations on accomplishing your goals. Right. It's not even the biggest goals, but no matter if you broke your leg that day, you celebrate those things. I mean, you put so much energy. If you stub your toe, people are upset, but they forget to celebrate that they walked throughout the day without stubbing their toe.
Right. Right.
So that's why, I mean, it's changed the way I do work and in my clients, and maybe I've even passed on their kids. Basic level of feeling accomplished every day. And that right there is the first part of being able to change your mindset.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good mindset most of the time, but I think there are still days when I, at the end of it, I do a meditation as I go to sleep. I actually going to do some astral projection as I go to sleep. But there are days like, right before that, it's like, I got to get up and do this right away in the morning. I didn't get this done, so that's got to be at the top of the list or whatever.
Right.
I've made a practice for a long time of trying to review, at least on my notes on my phone, like top 4 or 5 priorities for the next day, and let my subconscious go to work on that. But what you're talking about is a whole different level of actually creating a to-do list that whatever 5 things that you're going to accomplish, record it to yourself. So you're using multiple modalities that you to help your brain to help get that subconsciousness working for you, so that your consciousness makes it easier, or we'll have an easier time making those things happen throughout the day. I love it. I think that's very cool. That's a huge takeaway. And the mindset.
I mean, once you start actually going into it, you can up those levels. That's why I said when you're starting out, it's the same like, when I started meditation. It's not easy for everyone, but you have apps like I can't think of the mind one right now.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Of course, I don't even have my phone. Headspace.
Yeah, Headspace app. Yep.
Headspace is an amazing app for people to be able to get started. So this is that same thing of let's pick 5 things that are easy. I don't even care if it's like, hey, I'm going to go use one of those things could be, I'm going to use the restroom today. We all do it. Guess what? That's a goal you don't have to try to accomplish.
Right. Yeah.
But just starting off that way and having that sense of accomplishment every single day, no matter what happened throughout the day, and being able to go to bed feeling that sense of accomplishment.
Right.
It's life-changing. Yeah.
No, so and I'm just drawing a parallel between what you're talking about and then with our sales coaching clients. A lot of times what we'll have them do is we try to gamify the process early on to help them develop momentum. So I have a script we've tested, and if they can get a customer on the phone and they use our script that we teach them and work with them on the classroom, and then we coach them on it, that script will convert at 60 to 80%. It's gold. It's pure gold, right? And you don't have any marketing that converts at 60 to 80% if you got a phone number, right?
Right.
So, and it converts into either a face-to-face or a phone appointment or whatever. It's the same script that I use when I'm doing sales calls. Right. And but what happens is they go out and we say, okay, how many calls can you make this week, right? Or today? And all of a sudden those first 10 calls, 6 of them turn into appointments. Well, that's more appointments than I might have had in the last month.
Right.
I feel like I'm in momentum, and I'm starting to feel like I'm successful again. And so and then we talk about what went well, what are the what worked on that call, how did you get into that conversation, how did that go, what was good about it, what did you appreciate about it, and so we just start changing the mindset around what they do for work, which is selling.
Right.
And you're talking just literally like daily stuff, like going to the bathroom or appreciating the fact that you didn't fall down today.
We put so much energy into things that don't happen or happen bad. We don't put that same energy into just having a good day.
Yeah.
And I mean, just those kind of things, just as humans, I mean, we do that. So I mean, it's like, let's change that mindset. And that's where I'm like, you're like, how do we even get started? That's the easiest way. And I mean, everyone has a cell phone.
Yeah.
You can talk to yourself, and there's multiple different factors in that. Not only are you sitting there and giving yourself accomplishment, well, today we're doing live video.
Yeah.
Every time you do that, you're getting better on live video. You're training yourself to be able to talk into a camera. And if you can, like me, if I can tell myself something and I can accomplish it, I'm my biggest critic, right? And usually we're our own biggest critic. If I can tell myself something every day, guess what? I can tell anything. I know I can accomplish it because, again, no one's a bigger critic of me than me.
Awesome. So, yeah, I hope you don't mind, but I may end up starting to steal this and use with some of my own coaching.
Bro, this is what it's all about, man. You know me.
Yeah.
I want what we do. We're not here. I mean, money's great. I love to make money. We all do. Anyone that says that they don't, they're lying.
Liars.
But it's about making a better world. And if I can share my techniques and I can take, if I see something like you talked about, I mean, being able to adjust, and you see something on mine and you put it in play, hell yeah. Because I have kids. I want them to have a better world. I always say,
right,
I want to leave footprints in the sand that were stronger than that were left for me. And then guess what? My dad did a hell of a job.
Right.
So I've got big footprints to fill.
Big footprints to fill up, right?
Yeah. So, that's why I'm like, man, please share the message, because that's what it's all about. So, I mean, that's for the mindset. That's my mindset.
Absolutely. Beautiful. All right. So we've had a couple of requests here from the live listeners, if you will, Josh, just kind of to reintroduce who we're talking to, which is one of the things, like, obviously we're pulling this off for podcast promotion later on. But the other thing is there's some live people watching right now who might be wondering, who the hell are we talking to?
I love it.
So I'm working with Joshua B. Lee here today, who's the author of Balance is Bullshit. And the primary reason for bringing him on today, guys, was to further emphasize something that I've believed for a long time, which is, in fact, that balance is bullshit. There's no such thing as work-life balance, which is something that guys like me in the corporate training space have been getting paid to train on for years and years and years. Probably billions have been spent on this one concept. And the reality is it's impossible to create work-life balance. And even if you were good at if you had the kind of job that you could sort of leave at work and not a lot of it goes home with you and you don't have a lot to do after 5 o'clock, that doesn't mean you can't hang up you don't get hang-ups in the energy, or you don't get stuck with like that little barb that somebody threw right in that last meeting at 4 o'clock today. And then it's just like, right. And then it gouges you. And even when you go home. So even if we have jobs that we could separate, right, where you're not picking up your phone, you're not checking your email all night and things like that. But, there's the energy that carries over with it. I mean, it's almost impossible. Like, that's my take on it. So Josh has kind of 4 key areas that he goes to work on and helping his coaching clients that he talks about in the book. We're going to dig into those now. So we're talking about body, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about vision, we're talking about your occupation or your work that you do, your career, whatever that is. So Josh, for you, like, how important is the body aspect? And I actually weight this one heavier than any of the others because I practice a similar system, but because I know, like, the more I work my body, the better I feel, the more capacity I have, the more clear I am throughout the day. So how does that work for you? How do you recommend people kind of dissect that for themselves?
I mean, it's huge. If you look at yourself and you look good, you feel good. I mean, it gives you that confidence as well. I know with the days that I don't work out, if I have something that I can't work out, it does affect me. But I mean, I've now changed my mindset. I was like, look, I can skip a day because I do often work out, but I will do different things. There's certain things that, like, I know that I can't say there's not a day that I don't have time to work out. If I make that kind of bullshit comment, I know I'm lying to myself.
Sure.
It really is important because without health, without being healthy, either eating well and working out, doing those different aspects, you can't do anything else. I mean, if you're on a fast path to death because you're not yourself, how to be able to take care of your relationships? How are you going to have a vision about where you're going because you can barely get past where you are?
Right.
You know, in business, I mean, it takes a lot of time and effort. I mean, it's not easy. You can't just go through and be like, today's going to be cool. It's easy. Anyone can do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to be able to wake up.
So I'm right here in downtown Omaha in my office. A stone's throw away is Gallup. Okay, Gallup's headquarters right over here.
Nice.
And so they do some research. I don't know if you've heard about that, but so what we know is, I mean, 70% of Americans are disengaged with the work that they do. Okay? Now, I'm going to draw an unfair correlation.
Let's go.
Okay, so this is not, there's no research to back this up. It's completely unfair, but there's also enough data out there that says that 70% of Americans are also overweight in some way, shape, or form. Now,
I'm in Texas. I mean, again, we have 2 of those obese in the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Austin. As you can tell, that's where I'm at with my Monopoly sign.
Good Austin in the background, hiding behind the head. So what? This is a completely unfair correlation, right? And I'll probably catch some flack for it because my wife is a researcher and she says you can't make correlations like that. But the reality is, like, I mean, is it possible that just 70%, is it maybe not just the employer's fault? Because the leaders, the employers, right, the corporation, they catch all the flack, right? Because what we do is we blame, we're looking for somebody else or something else to blame. Like, my company is not an engaging place to work, or my company is not fun to work because they don't do this for me or they don't do that for me.
Right.
And the reality, my take on it is, I understand, yes, the company, I think, needs to do some things. Like, if the leadership is sitting back here on the flip side and saying, all of my people, like all of our people are disengaged, or we have this whole he said, she said thing going on, right? The people blame the leaders are blaming the people. And by the way, that is the story that I hear when I talk to executives in America, right? They're blaming their people. And then if you go and talk to their people will blame them. It's no different than what we do with the government, which you do happen to watch the news. And so here's the piece I want to get back to. 70% of people in America have health issues or are overweight.
Right.
70% of people are disengaged. I'm just going to say this. I think there's an experiment that needs to be run, and it's probably being done. I think if people take this number one thing you're talking about, which is body, and take control of it, I bet you that and get, like, if they take control of it, not because they need to swipe their freaking gym card at Stat Fitness 8 times a month to get $20 off their insurance. I'm talking about, like, actually getting in there and dropping some body fat, putting on some lean muscle to have more energy to go through the day. I bet you if that happened, if people just took control of it, the corporate engagement scores for employees would go up.
100%. 100%. But I mean, it can't be just, like you said, it can't just be the corporations. It's got to be the people. If someone comes up to me like, well, I work a corporate job. I've got to be there early in the morning. You're telling me that you don't have any time during the day? I mean, one of the programs that I have people run through, when they tell me that, I say, look, all I'm asking for you is to give me 5 minutes or less every hour on the hour. And you can go in and and it's not going to make you sweaty, but it's going to kick your metabolism up, and it's going to slowly get you on the track. But you can't tell me you can't do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups. You got to pull up, do a pull-up, 10 squats. Just that alone, every hour on the hour, you're increasing your metabolism, thus moving blood flow, thus increasing that to your brain, allowing you to feel more productive and be able to accomplish more, because now your brain is moving better. Yeah. Your heart is moving better. All the different aspects of your body. So if you're like, oh, my company doesn't give me time, I guarantee you there's 5 minutes every hour or less. 10 push-ups, 10 steps, and 10 squats real quick. It should take you, that's a long time.
Yeah.
You can do that right there. In the book, we had my personal trainer go through and put together programs that anyone can do. They can download from the book in the office.
Yeah.
Because it's that important. It's that important that they get this. I don't care where you are, just do something.
Absolutely. Repeat that though. So what will in the book, do you have some practical things that I can do that I can literally start implementing now?
100%. That's the one. My biggest thing that the most basic is to be able to, every hour on the hour, you use your phone, you set an alarm, or you try and at least find time on the hour. I say on the hour, I know sometimes meetings happen, but once an hour, find up to 5 minutes and just do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, and 10 squats. You don't need any equipment. And if someone's going to look at you the wrong way and that affects you, you need to get back to mindset.
Right. Yeah.
Change your mindset. Don't worry about anyone else. Because guess what? Anyone that hates on you, more than likely, they're just jealous of what you're doing.
Yep.
It's not that they're like, oh, look at that person. They're not making they're not making the effort to be able to do it themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you wanted to take whatever, if you're working a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 5, I mean, you're required to have at least 2 15-minute breaks, right? To go outside and have a cigarette, right? And that same 15 minutes, we could use 5 of them,
right,
to change the way your body feels with some.
Even if you do it 2 times a day. I mean, I don't care what it is. I mean, I'm trying to be able to get people up. I mean, I have my personal trainers because, again, I believe just like you, I believe you need a coach in every aspect of your life. I have coaches in my body as well. And I mean, I had him come in. He's one of the best guys that had me go through. Right. And it's like, look, here's a program. I said, look, I don't need I need a program that anyone can do sitting by a desk. And that's what they put together.
Perfect. I love it.
Even as entrepreneurs, we sit at a desk, or we sit at a desk, or near a desk, and there's usually a chair somewhere around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So try and do something that's body weight, because that's all you need. I cut down. This was 3 years ago. Shortly after my son had asked me, what you go through. Most of my training to get back into everything. And we love the show American Ninja Warrior. And we watched it, and he's like, Dad, you do that. So, I mean, most of my training in the beginning, all body weight. And I ran through the course.
Sure. And
I got on that show just specifically to show him that you could do it, and anyone could.
Awesome. That's cool. That's we have to talk about, we'll have to do another episode just on American Ninja Warrior.
That was fun. There was the episode, the part that I was on didn't actually air, but I got to run the course because we had just, my son being at the age that he wasn't allowed to be, I was doing it for him. They're like, oh, well, he can sit in the stands, but it's like you're going to run at like 3 a.m. in the morning. Like, I'm not wake my stands and watch it. He's not going to be next to me on the thing. I'm out.
Yeah. Got it.
So, and that's the whole thing. It's like, look, I was doing it to get in shape. I didn't care about TV. Right. You want to show your son, or you show other people that it can be done. I was one of the oldest people. I mean, I'm 38 now, right? Right. And this is, I'm 36, 6'2", over 200 pounds. Yeah. I mean, I'm bigger, older, and taller than 90% of the guys on that show.
Still sounds fun. It's good to set the example. Good for you.
Yeah. So I mean, that's where I look at on the health and the body side.
One more question I've got on the whole body thing. Within the book, I mean, do you get into nutrition at all? Okay, awesome.
Because again, that is, and again, I have one of my good friends as well, Brian Johnson. Yeah. Amazing nutritionist. He's Think Great Lose Weight is his company, and I mean, he goes through all through how nutrition and what it affects you.
Perfect.
And he gives some very easy, very follow. You're gonna have to go elaborate and go, all this different crazy to be able to be healthy. Yeah. And he gives an entire list on how to be able to do that, and what I've actually done as well in my own life.
Cool. I love it. So that we just on a podcast recording I did just before this a couple weeks ago, we had Tyler Dickerhoof from Isogenics on, and who's just a complete badass. But he also relates really well to a lot of my audience, because a lot of my audience is in the food production kind of agriculture space and in that arena. And what we tend to find is that animal nutrition, right? So how we raise our livestock in America, our nutrition in that arena is 40 to 50 years ahead of human nutrition. Right? So how good we are at feeding our livestock is 40 to 50 years ahead of where we are at feeding.
Because there's money in it, Mark, right? I mean, again, if we feed them better, now people actually spend more money on it. They see the money. People don't see money. They don't correlate money to their own nutrition and their own health.
Absolutely.
And if they change that side and they can go, I will make more money. I will be more successful. I will be more profitable. I will achieve more prosperity by being healthier and giving myself better nutrition.
Yeah.
They probably do it for themselves too, but they don't ever see that.
Yeah.
They just see it as, oh, well, that's just for aesthetics. No.
Right. No, it has nothing. Like, I mean, if people literally could get, like, I wish we had the study that shows, like, if you literally, did this 15-minute workout every, 6 out of 7 days a week, or 5 out of 7 days a week, and then changed, shifted the way that you feed yourself, like stop stuffing in
Right.
macaroni and cheese and start putting in like a couple pieces of spinach once in a while, like the difference would be $5,000 in your bank account at the end of the year. Or like if we could come up with that correlation and actually start selling that, and I don't know what that is.
I can go back on my own company, brother. I mean, when I was having my own issues, but had no money issues at all.
Yep.
I mean, and I started changing, and after I had a major fall of one of my companies, and it goes up and down. I mean, one of those things. Sure. And I started doing that. Like, I got to get back in shape because that's one of the most important things I did. I mean, I started my climb back up, and it changed. And I started specifically. I teach the techniques that I use on myself. I don't just make this shit up. I mean, I started because I was that guy. I grew up in shape, played sports, never had that. And once I was out of shape, I had the mindset, I'm embarrassed to go in because I can't push as much weight or I can't do as much as I used to do. Screw that. But I did that. So I was like, okay, how can I figure this out? Well, I take 5 minutes once I got to a level, then I move forward. But I mean, I had to, now I look at it and go, well, that was crazy. Just go in the gym. But I use that. How can I get to where I push myself? 5 minutes every hour, keeping my metabolism moving every single hour.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool. And when you get in, like, after you're in momentum for so long, like, I mean, it stays with you. Like, I mean, now I pretty much eat what I want.
Yeah.
Right? But it's different than 3 years ago when I was just trying to get my business off the ground and I was 178, 6'2". Yeah, I'm 23% body fat or 21% body fat. Go fast forward 3 years. I mean, now we have the fastest growing corporate training business in serving the agribusiness space. Okay. Here's the difference. I now weigh 200 pounds on that same 6'2" frame, but I have 9% body fat.
Hell yeah, man.
You cannot tell me that there's no correlation between fitness and making money.
100%. 100%. And, I mean, I don't want to be like this, but we've seen it in advertising. People do spend money and are more apt to be someone that, I mean, if you're a salesperson and they see you as a healthy salesperson, they're more apt to buy from you.
Yeah.
If you're a CEO, they're more apt to believe you. If you're a coach, I mean, I don't want a personal trainer teaching me how to lose weight if they're not in shape, at least to some extent.
Yes.
It's just it goes across things. And I mean, you will be more successful.
Absolutely.
Because people want to be able to talk to other people. If you look healthy, that is a sign of success as well.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
At least in your body.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, we've got a guy in our coaching program right now. I don't do any nutrition or fitness coaching. That's not what I do. We're corporate leadership and sales specialists. That's what we do.
Right.
We got a sales manager who manages 8 salespeople, and he's kind of one of our star students right now. And I keep bringing him up in a lot of cases, but he's literally down almost 50 pounds in a 12-week program, right? He's doing his own nutrition, figured out his own workouts. All we do is he says, I want to lose 100 pounds in the next year. So I just hold him accountable to getting his workouts done.
Right.
Pounds in 12 weeks. You kidding me?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Right there. I mean,
that is great. I mean, and he'll see an entire change across his entire life.
Exactly. But they're attracting the right kind of people into their business as a result. He's earning the trust of his leadership as a result, because he's seeing that his people that follow him are seeing the results of putting in the work and putting in the effort. And this is what happens. Their margins are up, their sales are up, everything is better.
Right. Because that's the health. Most people, they put health last.
Yeah.
And if you can be one of those small percentage of the population that puts health first, and they see that you're successful in being healthy, you are naturally assumed to be successful in other parts. So if you're going to put the effort and put the time to be able to do that, what else are they willing to do?
Precisely. I mean,
it's perception.
Absolutely. All right, man. So I don't want to do injustice to the other 3 things that we've got going on here. I want to hit on them quickly if we need to, man, if you're open to it, we'll get you back on. We'll dig into those down the road and do some special episodes on them or something like that. But so what if I pick up the book, if I order it on Amazon today, what can I expect to learn about the relationship aspect? So I know that's obviously a key piece. If the relationships aren't functioning at home,
right,
it makes it kind of hard to function at work, right?
So you gotta be, and I mean, you've got to be able to have those relationship aspects. I mean, the reason why I have achieved some level, a lot of my success is because of the people I surround myself with. They lift you up, or they hold you accountable. It's the same thing as having a coach, right? You've got to have that. And the same thing at home. I mean, what I've learned is I tried to live those two different lives in the past. I tried to be able to be that person and not include my former wife in what was going on in my business and what was going on. And I held all that stress in.
Sure.
And where I should have been sharing. I mean, that's when partnerships, the person that you share your life with. Your friends should be the people that you can go to for support, or to go to be able to, like, man, I accomplished this. And you guys all high five. Yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
And if it's so critically important. I mean, I'm blessed, man. Austin, Texas here, the entrepreneurial community is amazing. I've got a group here called Entrepreneur that I take entrepreneurs out. And it's just about being able to be with like-minded people, to be able to go out and relax, reset, refocus. But even more of my relationships here have built from one of my amazing friends as well, David Gonzalez, who runs Internet Marketing Party. Okay. And I mean, the people I surround myself with now are critical to my success.
Right. So talk a little bit about that. So, this is a thing that comes up. We always talk about the idea that, the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, the old Jim Rohn quote from way back, we've all sort of adopted and then started to live into over time, those of us that get it anyway. I know that's been true for me, right? I mean, the more I hang out with other successful business owners, guess what happens to me? My business becomes more successful, or better, the more I hang out with other guys who have great relationships with their spouse,
right? And
to lean into that, because that's the standard, right? Or
you have to be able to have those kind of things. I mean, again, I think I can't remember, but I mean, it's a saying I've seen that I love. I mean, you can't, as a man, you can't be a king without your queen.
Sure.
Again, a kingdom does usually, need both, and, a coin is worthless. I mean, you have men and women, and I mean, each one are a side of a coin. If I handed you a coin that only had one side, it's worthless.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we have to have both sides of that. And that's where men and women have to realize that we all need each other. I mean, not just in that type of relationship, but I mean, in all relationships, they really are critical, because, like you said, like Jim Rohn, the 5 people, it's not just surrounding yourself with, it's the 5 people you're most honest with.
Sure. Wow.
That's where I adjust a little bit.
Yeah.
If you have to have the 5 people you're most honest with will be the people that affect you the most.
Right.
If you just surround yourself with 5 people, I've had those people. I've done that in my past. Where I was like, oh yeah, I'm this and that and that. And you're just lying to everybody.
Sure.
And how can they be there for you? How can they support you? How can they push you if they don't know what's really going on?
Yeah. That's huge right there. I mean, that is an incredible distinction, right? Not just who you spend the time with, but that you actually talk to, that you actually open up to and share with. I mean, that's a huge distinction.
I mean, it changes. So, I mean, those are those little things. I mean, I'm blessed. I mean, some of the groups, I mean, my mindset shift was, really the first mindset shift I had was with a group called, and that's where Raul and I had met. We were talking about how you and I met, was with Maverick 1000, Yannick Silver. I mean, I joined their group, and I was allowed to go in and be able to see there's other entrepreneurs and other people like me work hard, be happy with the success they've achieved, and also be able to give back to the world.
Yeah.
And being around those individuals, those relationships there changed my entire character and my trajectory. I felt I was already making a very good trajectory, but being around those other individuals, being honest with them, changed my world. Now I'm in groups like Baby Bathwater that are another amazing group. And I mean, but going from those, you have to understand, we have these masterminds or these retreats that we go to, these people to hang out with. If you are married or in a relationship of any sort,
right,
you don't go back and then actually share what you've learned with your significant other, you're doing a disservice to your relationship.
Sure.
Because you have to be able to level up together.
Right.
Because like me, my gap started growing and growing and growing, and I didn't catch it in time.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So, I won't ever make that mistake again.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, man. I mean, I've done both. I'm lucky enough to still be married after going through massive growth and then not leveling up, trying to help my wife understand what I was going through and leveling up with,
right,
to make it through. And so we just had our 11-year anniversary 2 days ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But as I look at what a lot of this actually comes back to me with a lot of my clients and just people that interact with us on Facebook or through the podcast or whatever, they say, hey, I'm ready to grow. What if my spouse isn't ready to grow too? Right? I'm growing. I feel like I'm the only one invested in growing. I can't get them interested, right, in growing also. And that's a tough spot to be in.
That's where I had to make that choice too. And that's where I was.
Yeah.
And I had to, how they say, you got in an airplane, you got to put your mask on first to be able to help someone else.
Absolutely.
And I had to make that choice. I thought I was doing it for my children, staying together, trying to be with someone that wasn't ready to grow. And I mean, now that I've had to make it for myself, if they weren't ready, then we weren't ready together. And you can't change someone who they are. Either they're ready or they're not. And you can offer, but don't allow yourself, if that person's not willing to be able to grow with you. If you have the same friends, I mean, it always changes, right? I mean, it just happens. You grow out of people. Either you grow together or you grow apart.
Right.
You have to be conscious enough to realize when that happens and that situation has hit that point, and you need to keep moving forward and allow them to be able to have their journey and you to have yours.
You got it. Yep, absolutely. So there's a lot of different ways that can kind of shake out. And the other thing I always recommend to people is just to say, hey, the story that we often tell about somebody today isn't necessarily going to be true tomorrow.
No.
And so do everything you can, go all in, try to share all of that. And I'm anxious to dig into that part of the book and see what kind of advice you have to share.
Yeah, man. I mean,
but
different pieces. You got to be able to do that. And I guess we have business being last.
Yeah. So let's dig into the business.
Well, it's business. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, you have to be able to take that time and effort, and you have to. That's why we talk so much. We spend so much time on mindset, health, relationships, because again, those are three critical pieces of being successful in your occupation. See, I'm using it already.
Total upgrade.
Using it in whatever occupation you are in, because without those, you're alone, and there's no one is self-made. We are all defined by the people. We're not defined by ourselves, but also with the people we all level up together, and you have to be able to be with those people. I mean, I've created a lot of businesses in my life. I mean, I've had now 13 different companies over the past decade.
Yeah.
Some have been extremely successful. Some have been failures. But I keep on going back, and that's the biggest thing with anything in business is fail fast. If you're going to fail, don't drag it out.
Yeah. Why hold on to the pain if you can just get into it and get through it and make it happen? Figure out whatever you're going to learn from it today.
Right. And I have a coach. I mean, again, I don't care who it is. Find someone that aligns with you, because again, this is what will allow you to be able to go. There's so many people out there that are willing to be able to share their experiences and what they've learned. Do your due diligence. Make sure it's a coach that actually can truly speak from experience, because there's too many of them out there. You've seen them that are out there going, "Oh, I'm going to teach you how to be successful." Like, as I told you, I had a paid advertising, and I still do have a paid advertising company, and that's what started me off.
Yeah.
I had a guy come out and he's like, "Josh, I want to teach people how I want to work with companies that are doing $6 figures a month, and I'm teaching how to do 10 figures a month." I was like, "Awesome! I can be able to bring those people to you. I'm happy to be able to help out." Well, start off, we have a $10,000 deposit. You're charging $10,000 at the course, whatever. We'll get it going. He's like, can we do this? Now, I don't have $10,000. Can we sell a course first and you keep that, and then we move on from there? I'm like, wait a minute. Let's just stop for a second. So you want to work with people that are making 6 figures a month. You're going to teach them how to make 7, but you don't have $10,000. There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
And we see that so often.
Right.
And if people aren't being willing to be able to show and be transparent, I mean, I'm very transparent. I'm like, look, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I've done. Here's what I've screwed up on.
Right. Yeah.
Either we're going to work together or we're not.
Right.
I mean, now I can be able to jump rather than take me years to get where I want to go in business. I can now jump curve.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No. So I see so much of this in the corporate space, like the fear around failing because what will somebody else think? Right? Now, you and I are relatively public with what we do, and we do Facebook Live videos and just kind of riff without a script and talk about a book or talk about some of our thoughts on, how to get better at life and those kind of things. We're willing to put ourselves out there for lack of fear because we've practiced failing. And like if this thing flops, if Facebook Live goes down right now, like whatever, we still got most of the recording. I'll publish it anyway. I don't give a shit.
Me and Marcy tried to do it twice and it failed. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's whatever it's going to have. But if I go over here too, I've got the Omaha World Herald I'm looking at. I've got Union Pacific Railroad over there. If I'm sitting in a cube over there listening to this thing or watching this video right now, I might have second thoughts and say, hey, what you guys are talking about is bullshit. Not balance is bullshit, but like failure inside the workplace is bullshit. Why?
Right.
Well, because like I could lose my job, or what happens, or what will they think, right? So
it's a learning experience, right?
Exactly. Well,
you have to be able to take that. Now, if you can fail and then show what you've learned, God, I was trying to think of this. Mark John? No. One of the Shark Tank guys. I can't think of his name right. I can't remember right now, but I mean, he said the other day is like, I never fail. I just get data.
Yeah.
And if you can actually show why something didn't work and what you can do moving forward, I mean, this is in a business.
Absolutely.
The problem is people just take it as a failure, not as a learning experience, and you have to be able to reposition that to the people you're with.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think what happens so often is we start thinking about like the big picture is going to fail, right? When we say like, oh, it's it's okay to fail, it's okay for things to go wrong. Like so often we think about like the total end result of every single project. No, I'm talking about like sales call that you're going to make. Like here's the deal: if I'm a professional baseball player and I bat .333 lifetime, what's going to happen to me about a 10-year career?
Yeah,
I'm going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
right.
But you got to swing a lot, right?
But that means he fails, right? 7 out of 10 times.
I'm like, you got to swing a lot.
Exactly. And that, so, but if I'm a professional salesperson, just because I'm not on ESPN tonight when I get home,
right?
Just because I'm not on that whatever YouTube show, or I'm not a professional, whatever. My best friend from high school, is he and his brother run a professional exhibition shooting company. Right?
Yes.
How much, how many clay pigeons and how many shotgun shells they have to go through to get to be sponsored by Bass Pro Shops.
Oh yeah.
Speed dial by Johnny Morris, who started Bass Pro to come down and do a show for celebrities like whenever he wants them to. Like that's like it takes a lot of failure to get there if you're a professional. I don't care if you're a professional journalist, if you're
that's where you have the most growth, right? In your failure. If the person that gets themselves back up after a failure and learns from that is where you have the most growth. That's why I think balance is bullshit, because when you're unbalanced, that's where you have the most opportunity for growth. And you'll be able to grow, just like a failure.
Absolutely.
You got to be able to, if you don't swing, and like you were saying in baseball, you don't swing at it, you're never going to have the opportunity.
Absolutely.
You got to swing for the fences every single time. And guess what? Sometimes you'll miss. Other times, I guarantee you, when you hit over the fences, people remember that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They remember the home runs. They remember you struck out. I mean, for a very short time frame.
Yeah.
But when you hit that one over the fence, it's talked about for a lot longer.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And by the way, this whole idea around failure, right? Sometimes we frame it up as only at work stuff, right? We think it's just I'll be honest, like the Union Pacific Railroad is across the street from me. I don't want the guy running the switches that makes the trains stop and go. I don't want him having like, a 90% failure rate. Like that's right. But he goes home tonight. He goes home tonight, or she goes home tonight, or that air traffic controller goes home tonight, but they didn't work out. Right. And so, or they didn't take care of themselves, or they're not taking care of that relationship. So it starts to feel like failure. And that's a little bit different than what I'm talking about. Like what I'm suggesting is like, maybe you take some swings in your relationship and you ask your spouse, or you ask your girlfriend, or you ask that person that you see at the bar out tonight, and you actually start taking some swings in the relationship. Maybe the workout doesn't work perfectly, or it doesn't go, maybe it kind of sucks. Maybe it hurts the first day, but you take some swings to see if you can do 20 pounds instead of 15, right? So allow yourself to suck a little bit there in the effort of, hey, I know I'm going to fail a few times. I know it's not going to be perfect, but we're going to get there.
You've got to be able to do those things. I mean, and that's where people don't even, it's like, if you don't put out the effort even to try,
exactly,
you never have the opportunity.
Yeah. So point is, there's a lot of places we can fail in life, and we need to do more of it. We get to do more of it, not only at work. It's not just about the career, the occupation. It's about trying stuff as a dad. I mean, I try stuff with my kids all the time that fails miserably.
Most times they just laugh at me, and that makes them happy. And you're like, wait a minute, okay, if I failed and they laughed and they smiled, I still made someone happy, and I still created a positive outcome.
Yes, absolutely. All right, dude. So let's bring this in for a landing here real quick. So I know you got to get on to, and so do I. We're about an hour into this recording already. So just give us some idea, Josh. I mean, summarize a little bit of the book. Why should I pick this up on Amazon real quick? We'll certainly link this up in the show notes and everything on the website, so people can just scroll down and get it, or on iTunes, whatever. We'll take care of all that. But last couple thoughts on this for us, please.
I mean, here's the thing, man. I mean, we don't have two different lives, just like we don't have two different personalities. You have one life. If you try to live two different lives, or you had two different personalities, guess what? You're going to be in an insane asylum. You're going to drive yourself insane. You got to go see a doctor. You have one life. You have to live it that way. So, I mean, if you feel like, if you have big dreams and you don't feel like you're achieving them, or you feel like you burn out, or don't feel like you have time for sleep, or any of those aspects, because you're just trying to go through life. I mean, that's what this book's about. It's being able to show you that there is opportunity. There's chance. You can be able to make these things. I mean, it's really ready to take your life to the next level. I work with people, especially if I'm in the corporate world. It's how to be able to scale with your team out of your company. And that's not just tactics. That's being able to change that mindset. That's being able to give you those different pieces to be able to grow, because it happens too often that you're growing out of. If you're not going to grow with your health is going to be gone. If you're not going to grow with your relationships will be gone. If you're not going to grow with your business, guess what? Your business is going to be gone. And that's what I try and portray and be able to teach everyone how to be able to do it. And that's what people need to understand. There's no place of balance. Stand on one leg is a lot harder than standing on two. Be integrated with the world, right?
You got it.
That's what it's all about.
You got it, brother. I appreciate it very much. It's been awesome. What's the website, any other contact information you want us to use to get a hold of you?
Yeah, man, no worries. I mean, again, I leave myself open very much, so people can email me directly if they ever want to have a question. It's Joshua, Joshua, at monsterpreneur.com. Again, that is one of the brands, MAPREUN.com. And then to be able to pick up the book, I mean, it is on Amazon. Yep. But also you can go to our website and be able to catch a couple little extras. It's balancesbullshit.com, but it's SHT.com. The reason why, when you advertise on Facebook or on TV or where else, you never realize those little things. I mean, that's funny. That I have to just say this real quick. My son wanted to take the book to school. He's 7, right?
Yeah.
It says bullshit on the front. I have to kind of be careful of that. So we're actually, my next project is being able to take, because I believe all the concepts that you teach, that I teach, can easily be transcended down. I wish I had known at a younger age. So my next project is Balance is Silly, and I'm actually co-authoring a book with my son. I'm going to take the exact same concepts, but adjust them down for children to be able to take.
That's awesome. That's really, I think that's beautiful.
So
perfect.
That's it, man. I mean,
love it.
Check it out. Bounces Bullshit, SHT.com.
Love the alignment, man. It's going to be awesome. Hey, thank you so much for jumping in here with me this afternoon and being a part of this live interview on Facebook. For those of you that got to watch it, that are sticking with us, thanks for being in. Thanks for all the feedback and input. We'll get back to you on some of those things a little bit later on. For those of you on the podcast, thank you guys so much for listening in. This has been another episode of the Survivor's Guide to Thriving podcast interview today with Joshua B. Lee, author of Balance is Bullshit. Go get some of that stuff.
Love it, man. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Survivor's Guide to Thriving podcast. You can find the show notes and links to all the resources mentioned in this episode by heading over to markjeweltraining.com/podcast. And if you feel so inclined, we'd love it if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. That's what helps us move up in the charts so that more people can find us and start their surviving to thriving journey. See you next week.